Hi guys, I'm here with Tommy, who was seventh place and the seventh member of our jury. I didn't forget to record the first time at all. Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Elise.
Did you expect to go home this round?
I sort of expected to go home. It was kind of that feeling that where people just don't talk to you as much as they were before, maybe, because obviously they don't want to lie to you or they're scared of a plan being blown up, which there clearly was a plan to take me out. So I felt like there was a pretty good shot that I'd be going home here. And along with that, I'd seen a lot of the people that I was closest to get taken out in recent rounds. So I knew that I just didn't have as many people who were going to be willing to work with me and would be willing to keep my name off the chopping block and protect me. So I thought there was a pretty good chance that I'd be going home this round. Yeah.
So it was a 4-3 vote off. So what do you think happened to lead to a vote off?
Well, I feel like the three Alios left in the game, Chi, Milo, and Alicia, obviously stuck together because I think they feel like as a trio they kind of need to at this point, especially with all the circumstances with the jury of the touchy subject situation. And I feel like they probably pitched to Wes, who was the other person who voted me, that I was the biggest threat left, and that as like the last winner and as somebody who had a lot of people on the jury who I was friends with and who I was closely aligned with, that I was someone who needed to be taken out here. And that's probably what led to it. Yeah.
Obviously there were a lot. How did you, obviously ones that were both wasted and were played correctly, but how did you avoid being the one that was idled out, especially being a threat as a winner?
Oh, well, yeah. As a winner, I knew that I couldn't throw myself out there as like a big player or a big target, and I needed to find other people to work with who could shield me and could protect me. So I was able to build alliances with people like Grace and with Brandon and Tim that basically ensured that I wasn't going to be the biggest threat in my alliance and that I wouldn't be the target going into that in that situation, which obviously happened multiple times. But another thing I did was I tried to build strong individual bonds with a lot of people on the other side. Like, for example, I got pretty close to Alicia throughout the game. So I felt like there was a good chance that if I wasn't the biggest target in my alliance and that I had those bonds on the other side, that I wouldn't be the victim of an idle play.
So something that I find really interesting is obviously you came in as a winner, but this is also your second ever game, if I'm correct.
It is.
So you've only played 2 games and you've come so far in both. You won your first one, you got seventh place in this one. Like, how would you describe your gameplay, especially with it being so new to you?
Well, I'm a pretty huge Survivor Super fan. So like when I went into Yukon, I had a good idea of the game and how I would want to play, but I guess I just try to be myself basically, which is just trying to connect with people as much as I can and not make myself into the biggest target, and to kind of find people who can be that biggest target in front of me, but who also would want to stick with me long term.
So what would you say that your biggest regret from the game is?
I wouldn't say I have any huge regrets, but I think I think I could talk about this. One is that I didn't win immunity at the final 8, and I'll explain why. So basically, after Tim went home, I kind of knew that I didn't really have any sort of path to the end without any sort of drastic shift in the game. So basically, my plan was, had I won immunity there at the final 8, which I thought I had a pretty good chance to, because I'm pretty good at slide puzzles, but I choked that challenge pretty badly. But my plan was that I felt confident that Ben and Nate were going to stick with me, but I knew that I needed Wes on my side. So I was going to give Wes individual immunity to ensure to him that basically he wouldn't be scared about going to rocks because he'd be immune. And in that case, hopefully the vote would go to 4-4, and hopefully we'd force rocks. But sadly, probably my biggest regret is that I choked that challenge and I didn't ever really get an opportunity to at least attempt that plan. Although it probably wouldn't have worked looking back on it, it certainly would have been a fun way to either secure a good spot in the game for me or go out.
That's really interesting. So you would have given up the necklace and then risked yourself in rocks?
Yes, I would have.
Which would have been a final 8, so 3 people. So it would have been a 1 in 5 chance of going home. Do you consider yourself more of a player who makes moves that could risk them going earlier, but it would, if it works, improve the longevity of the game? Or do you prefer the kind of survive on a round by round basis gameplay?
I usually do prefer the just getting through each round, no matter how I could. But I knew that when I got to that final 8, I had to, if I wanted any chance to get anywhere close to the end, I had to do something big and try to establish some sort of majority as early as possible. And so that's kind of where that plan came in, because it gave me the best opportunity of giving myself a shot, despite the fact that it very well could have gone wrong.
What would you say that your proudest moment from the game is?
Proudest moment. I think in a weird sort of way, my proudest moment was when Grace was voted out, because when I went into this game, I didn't really have much faith in myself that I'd get that far, one, or that I'd have any chance of being the last winner. So that moment was tough because I was very, very close to Grace and I really didn't want her to go home there. But it was kind of this great feeling of validation where I wasn't always sure about my status as a winner and how good of a game I really played. So being that last winner was a pretty cool feeling and something that I'll always remember.
So obviously you were the last winner and you're now gone, but who left in the game would you say that you're rooting for?
Right now, I'm probably still rooting for either Ben or Nate, because they stuck with me, and I've had really, really great conversations with both of them, and they're really both great guys. So I'd be very happy with either of them winning the season.
Oh, but who do you actually think has the best chance of winning?
I think that Milo's in a pretty decent spot where he does have a solid trio, as it appears in the 3 Alios. And I think if he gets to the end there, he has a pretty good shot to win. But if that's not the final 3, then I think Nate has a pretty good chance, because from what people told me while I was in the game, they all kind of saw Nate as a GOAT or someone who wouldn't get votes at the end. But from what I've observed of Nate, he's played really, really well and played an under the radar game that I really, really do respect. So I think he's got a pretty good shot to get to the end. And if he does get to the end, I think he'll have a good shot to win the game.
Is there anything else that you'd like to delve in and talk about?
Not really. I kind of just want to thank you and thank all of the hosts and all the spectators and all of my fellow castaways for making this experience just pretty incredible and a lot of fun, and something that I'll always remember.
Thank you so much for playing, Tommy. I do have one last question for you. I think Brandon would like to ask a question that he's asked every single juror, or the last 2-3 jurors. What do you think of Queen's Gambit?
I have not seen it yet. I've not seen it yet, but I've been told that it's good, and I'm planning on starting it tonight. So, Brandon, I'll let you know what I think of it.
Well, you should watch it. As a host, I recommend. So the last thing we're going to do is word association. So I'm just going to go through all the members left in the game, and you just like say the first thing that comes to mind. However, the jury will riot if we don't also do it for them. So we're also going to go through the jurors, if that's all good with you.
That's great.
Okay, so Kevin.
Really nice dude.
Courtney.
Great player. Someone who I really bonded with.
Brandon.
Again, yeah, a really cool dude that I wish I could have got to spend more time with.
Grace.
Queen.
Tim.
Legend, my day one, number one ally, who I wish I could have gone farther with.
B.
Great player.
Okay, so now we're going to go through the players themselves that are left in the game. So, Alicia.
A very good player and a great person, but a bit flawed.
Ben.
Hilarious and misunderstood.
Chi.
Disappointing.
Milo.
Good dude, but complicit.
And Nate.
Really nice guy and an underrated player.
And Wes.
Again, nice dude, but kind of erratic.
Do you think it's a final 2 or a final 3?
From what I know, it's a final 3 because that's what Nate told me. Nate went to the last Star Summit, and from what he told me, that was his decision whether or not it would be a final 2 or final 3. And he told me he was going to choose a final 3. So
thank you so much for playing, Tommy, and thank you so much for joining me for this interview, even though I may have messed up the recording at first. Thank you so much.
thank you for having the interview, and thank you for casting me on this season. It was a lot of fun.